Hello and welcome back to another Just Films and That new release special. This time around, it's the latest installment in the Mission Impossible franchise, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. What a mouthful. Anyway, as with the others, I'm going to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, but if you don't want to know anything, make sure you listen to this after you've seen it. Whilst I've got your attention, if you could head over to the app you're listening to this on, give us a little rating and review, it would be hugely appreciated. But listen, thank you so much for tuning in. You're an absolute gem. Anyway, I'm not going to do a plot synopsis. Look, it's a Mission Impossible film. Tom Cruise is Ethan Hunt. He's got a mission. He's got gadgets. He runs the stunts, big bangs, all that sort of stuff. You know what you're getting in for with the Mission Impossible film, and this is no different. So, I'm going to start with what I liked. Overall, I enjoyed the film. It's the same old formula, but it is done as well as we've seen it before. I'd probably say it's not as good as the last one, but that's just my personal opinion because I love the last one, the Mission Impossible Fallout. I thought it was brilliant. Anyway, loads of great action and stunts in this, executed really stylishly and a pretty breathless pace, to be honest with you. Considering it's almost 3 hours long, I didn't feel it. Towards the end, I went to the toilet because I could not hold in a little wee any longer than I could. I had a lot of water, guys. I'd like to stay hydrated, you know how it is. And I got back and there was like 10 minutes left and I didn't realise I'd been watching it for like an hour and 40 minutes or something like that. Anyway, there are stunts in this that, I mean, you know, the stunts are always good in these films. There are stunts in this where they might as well post a clip of a Bond film or a Bourne film next to it and be like, look at that. We're doing it better. Little car chase in the European city. Do it better. Fight on top of a train. We'll do it better. Anyway, in terms of the character development, the plot, I enjoyed that as well. This one takes it to a little bit more, in terms of exposition, it's a lot more expositional, and it takes it to a lot more of a personal place for Ethan Hunt as a character. And there's some great world building in there too about how the IMF works and stuff like that. I know they've hinted the next one might be his last one, and then they've also now come out and said that it's not going to be his last one. But either way, this one is obviously it's part one, and it's definitely building up to the next part, whilst also, you know, delivering all those things that you want from the franchise. It's also a little bit more self-aware as well. It's a little bit more meta, so it plays around with the genre, plays around with your expectations, and there's some comedy bits in there too, which I really liked. Some great new additions to this as well. So you've got the same old people, you know, same old faces that we know: Tom Cruise, Simon Pegg, Ving Rhames, all that sort of stuff, Rebecca Ferguson. But then you've also got Pom Clementif, hope I'm saying that right, and Hayley Atwell in there too. Not only do they bring, you know, they sort of balance that diversity up a little bit, but they both bring their own great, you know, energy in there to it. Particularly like Hayley Atwell's inclusion, as she's sort of put in there to be the audience eye view of what it would be like to actually be a normal person caught up in this world, being dragged along for the ride. And then that sort of feeds back to what I was saying earlier about the exposition about how the world is built, and some comedy as well. Just one final thing I liked as well, because it's not something I often touch on, but the sound mixing and sound editing in this is phenomenal. There's a real punch to there's a real punch to all the punches. So it makes the whole thing seem more visceral when you're watching these, you know, fantastically executed stunts. In terms of the dislikes, there's a few bits where I need to probably have a little word with myself and detach myself from the genre, because some of it does just come with the territory. My main issue with this was the main overall sort of villainous device. Now, often in Mission Impossible films, the plot's either a MacGuffin to move the story along whilst you enjoy the action, or it's, you know, that's often what it is, I suppose. And in this, it does feel like they're making a little bit more of a point. But the problem is with the way, for me, it's the way it's written. It's too vague. So it's either deliberately vague in order to build up to something, or it's trying to avoid being too specific because they don't want to isolate people or be seen to be making too much of a point. For me, I just found it hard to follow, and I wasn't sure what was actually going on in places. I won't spoil it, but that's my main issue. And the problem with it then is they then outline what the device is, what the plot is, through just expositional conversations. So two things then happen. First is there's at least 2 or 3 scenes of people just filling in each other's sentences and exposition dumping about what the thing is to get the thing to do the thing, and we'll do the thing and all that sort of stuff. And that it just feels there's a bit in it where there's so much expositional dialogue, I thought it was going to turn out to be a simulation. That's how much it is. And the second is that then informs a lot of weird blockbuster whisper acting. Now, I know that's it's a trope of the genre, but I really noticed it. I really noticed it in this, and I just sort of found it irritating. There are bits where people are just 2 people having a conversation in a room, and there'd be no reason to talk so arch all the time. And I just, I suppose if you think of the Matrix sequels, the dialogue of the Matrix sequels, you're in the ballpark there a little bit. So that's the main thing. And then the other thing is, look, sorry, for this, I'm gonna moan about something now that I should probably just shut up and suspend my disbelief for. So if you're thinking, just shut up, Josh, that's fine, but don't tell me, it hurt my feelings, and I'm fragile, guys. But the whole mask thing, right? Now, everyone in this world uses these masks, and I've never had this issue with the fact that, you can give Tom Cruise a mask and he suddenly appears to be a guy who's a foot taller with a bigger nose or different coloured eyes or whatever. But there's a bit in this, and this isn't a spoiler, but skip forward 1 minute if you don't want to hear it and I'll get it out. But there's a bit in this where a character uses a mask who has the most obviously different coloured eyes to who they're meant to be, and it is just not mentioned. And there's no way that whole thing got through everyone who's involved in this film, the edit and all the people who are involved before it goes to screenings, that didn't point out that is really jarring. So I just found it to be a bit of a weird choice, I think. But anyway, other than that, it's probably the worst Cruise haircut of the series. But listen, the man looks fantastic. The man looks better than I will ever look. He's got great hair. So you know what? You do you, Tom. Keep up the running. And listen, overall, look, it's exactly what you want from a Mission Impossible film. It's loud, it's daft, it's silly, and it's just loads of fun. So get out there, give it a watch, make it your own mind, see what you think. Let us know what you think. Get in touch with us over on our social media channels. If you search for Just Films and that on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, you'll find us. Get in touch, suggest a film, and we'll be back every Tuesday with our normal episodes talking about all your favourite underrated and underseen films. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you next time. Cheerio!